Welcome to this Northamptonshire Community Foundation podcast. My name is Rachel McGrath. I'm the Grants Director for Northamptonshire Community Foundation. We recently had a 15-year anniversary launch, which took place on the 2nd of February, not only to celebrate 15 years of the Foundation's giving, but also to launch our second impact review. And for those who were unable to attend, this is our impact presentation via podcast so that you can share with us the results and achievements of the funds that we've given out in the last year on behalf of our donors. And for those of you who are not aware of the Community Foundation and the work that it does, we're part of a larger network across the UK, and we basically connect people who work hard to make things better but lack funding with those people who want to make a difference with their money but don't know where to start. And here's a clip of an introduction video to Northamptonshire Community Foundation's services.
Having been involved in the private sector and public sector and voluntary sectors of Northamptonshire life for a number of years, it now makes me feel very, very proud the fact that I can give something back to the community by being involved with an organisation called Northamptonshire Community Foundation. They interact with donors and they link those donors with organisations who desperately need help and support. Northamptonshire is a very affluent county, but like any other county in the country, there are still areas of deprivation. Also, there are so many community groups and projects that just need that little bit of support. Projects that can bring communities together and make our county a better place in which to live and which to work. So I would ask everybody to just watch the rest of this film to get a flavour of some of the activities that our foundation is involved in.
The Real project works with young people who've been excluded from mainstream school. This is our outdoor woodland classroom, and they've built all the buildings around that you can see in the site. And over the years we've had several contributions from the Northamptonshire Community Foundation, and to be honest, without their contributions we simply wouldn't have been able to survive.
Springs Family Centre is situated right in the town centre of Northampton. It's an area of great need, and in the centre we have lots of people who come in. Whenever the shutters are up, people arrive. We work with about 150 people in a week. We have Jobs Club, Mums and Tots, we give out food. We work with a lot of young people, and we're very grateful to the Community Foundation, both for the money they've given us in grants, but also for the advice and support they give us.
This is New Arc Foundation, which is set up to promote the health, education and social welfare of Blacks, dual heritage families and migrant communities. Community Foundation is so important for guidance, for advice. They put up training programs. We found them to be really supportive. And if it wasn't for them, we couldn't have come this far.
We run songwriting, recording and video production projects with young people in Northamptonshire and abroad. These kind of projects help the young people grow in their kind of self-esteem and confidence, as well as learning about the technology, the songwriting process. So it's a creative project, but it's also quite a therapeutic project. So we find the Northamptonshire Community Foundation is an essential lifeline for our funding for these kind of projects. And the process is very simple. We get loads of support with that, which is essential to help us keep going. We can focus on the work that we do best.
I think the most important piece of work that we've done over the last 2 to 3 years has been measuring the difference that the grants make. So that the people who have given to us can see the demonstrable difference that their funding has made to the communities who do a great deal with that. And I think the figures speak for themselves.
think all of us, irrespective of whether we're in business, have an obligation, if we're able to give to charity.
Just the fact that you know that it's focusing on community, on people that are local, and it's clearly going to make a difference.
It made sense not just from a charitable giving point of view, but also from a business point of view. To be able to work with 100 other local businesses, to rub shoulders with them, to network with them.
I think if you are interested in charitable giving, I would be surprised if you could find an avenue to give that is better in terms of a localised opportunity that's well run, that's genuinely supporting local communities. And for me, it's a no-brainer in that it really is supporting everyone in Northamptonshire.
So having seen this film, I hope it has given you some food for thought. And if you are able to donate in any way to help some of the projects that you've seen, to help many other worthy causes, I can promise you that your donation, if it is given to the Community Foundation, will be used in the best possible way. And the return on your investment, not only in the help that it gives others, but how it makes you personally feel, will be well worthwhile. Thank you for watching.
I'm delighted to say that based on completed projects in 2015, 128,896 people were supported at an average cost of £5.06 per beneficiary. And you can review our impact review online at this link, www.ncf.uk.com/training/impact. So, a question that we need to ask ourselves, and this is part of the story of how we started measuring impact, is how do you know what you are doing is making a difference? We often have local knowledge, intuitive knowledge about the real difference groups are making on the ground in the work that they do. But in order to better demonstrate that to our donors, to a wider public, and to continue the case for ongoing investment in the voluntary and community sector, we have helped develop an impact assessment framework with the UKCF network. This was nationally piloted, and we took a lead part in that pilot to test out a framework on behalf of other community foundations. This has enabled us not only to build the monitoring and evaluation skills of grassroots groups, it's also created an impact measurement tool to help evidence and value local funding and demonstrate the impact of individual donor, single donor or multi-programme funding. It also enables us to deep mine the impact of funded activity and report this to our network of donors and to the funders that we support. It also helps us to evidence the value of the sector across a broad range of themes, so we're able to promote the actual difference that the sector's making and are able to show the positive impact that it brings about creatively, flexibly and quickly, because it's not privy to the same restrictions that the private or public sector are and can often be quite responsive to crisis issues, for example. So we've helped build good practice as well as helping design that framework, and that implementation has now gone across 46 community foundations, and we supported this work through training visits. And across the network, if you think in 2013, 2014, collectively we gave out 20,000 grants to a value of £65 million. The kind of impact that we can demonstrate across that amount of money for a range of donors is quite formidable. We've also developed an impact committee, which is led by one of our trustees, and it helps us to review the impact stats and information on a 6-monthly basis to ensure that we're rising to challenges and, where possible, addressing gaps in need geographically or thematically. We've also worked with Inspiring Impact Northern Ireland at a UKCF conference in 2015 to promote good practice around funders recording impact. But also we're working in partnership locally with Voluntary Impact Northamptonshire and Northamptonshire Analysis to promote good practice in local groups adopting impact measurements as well to better promote their activity and measure it. We also provide monitoring and evaluation workshops for local community groups. An important aspect of this work is raising the profile of the difference the grants are making that we give out on behalf of a range of donors. And often the small groups that we work with don't have the time or resources to promote the work they're doing, and often can be seen as an invisible or hidden sector. So we work with local press, local media, in order to promote that work, and some of that demonstrated difference comes out of our impact review. We also try and reach new audiences and new donors through the impact measurement work that we do, and hopefully reach a new wider group of stakeholders who can see the difference that a community foundation can make for investing local money to local groups. We also rely on an online database to support the data analysis and reporting of our impact, known as D2, and this enables us to manage information and data that we receive from groups, analyse it, send it back out to donors, but also utilising that information to create our impact review, to create press releases, and also to create a range of different reports highlighting the differences made by groups across a range of themes. And this means we can provide case studies on a single level of a community group and the difference it's making, but also across a complete fund or across several funding programs to show the kinds of outcomes that they're helping attain and to help the donors see the difference that their community investment is making. So welcome to our impact review, and to start off with, I want to talk a little bit about how the funds that we give out help improve community life and wellbeing. Just as some snippet highlights, we can see that 25,462 people have been benefited by joining in with community activities, and this has also created 6,662 hours of new community activity. Now, this theme of improving community life and wellbeing is a sort of pan-community type work which covers volunteering schemes, community centre activity, youth and lunch clubs, celebratory and information events, and this is often the work which is a gateway to getting people connected to local agencies and local events and local activities, particularly reducing social isolation. One of our next key themes and highlights, which you can read more about in our impact review online, is helping vulnerable people and families. This can often include work such as fuel and food poverty initiatives, debt counselling, projects which support independent living. The project which we're going to highlight in one of our films in just a second is Accommodation Concern. Now, based on their funded work, which was funded via our M100 Giving Circle, 76 people accessed support services who were previously homeless or rough sleeping within the Kettering area, and as a result of that they enabled 72 people to gain stable housing. And the 4 remaining rough sleepers they're still working with in order to ensure that they get further advice and gain medical support. In fact, in the last year, based on completed end of grant reports, our funds have enabled 16,765 people to access support services. Is just one of the sort of key highlight stats I'd like to demonstrate. And now here is the film highlighting Accommodation Concerns work under this theme.
Accommodation Concern prevents and alleviates poverty, hardship, need and distress. If we weren't here, I'm not sure where people would go. So many agencies and charities have closed due to cuts that people's options are very limited.
I don't think I'd have probably got the place without help from the council said none of our business, see your housing association. Housing association said none of our business, see the council.
We're trying to attack poverty from all angles. You know, from the basics of getting people what they should be getting, to addressing health issues, getting people away from violent relationships. Basically, any of the things that could affect somebody's life can walk through the door here at Accommodation Concern. Over 2,000 people came to us last year, and we had over 151,000 client contacts during the year. Anybody can walk through the door, and we'll do whatever we can to help them.
They've helped sort out my bills, my debts. I had to have a food parcel at the beginning.
What we will do is try and get somebody that comes in from the street and has a bundle of problems, sit down and interview them and assess them and try and unpick their problems. So we will try and prevent them from becoming homeless. We will try and help them maximise their income, minimise their outgoings, sort out any debts, get anything to which they're entitled, and help them try and get employment, education, training, and basically turn their lives around. We have 6 on the paid staff team. We have a host of other volunteers who are absolutely amazing. They're sadly unpaid, but they do an absolutely brilliant job. We would be absolutely lost without our volunteers. Referrals are up. Unfortunately, so is homelessness and poverty. We're doing what we can to get out there and prevent as much of it as possible. We are part of one of the local food banks, so we distribute food parcels to people in need. We have a huge amount of relationship breakdowns, domestic abuse, the people with addiction issues, people who just have lost their job and their accommodation is no longer affordable for them.
One of our next key themes in terms of demonstrating impact is helping people back into education and training. The kind of activities that we fund include lifelong learning, training and work placements, social enterprise activity and acquisition of new skills. And the film which you're going to link on to in a minute is Brookside Hall, who through their funded activity provided basic counselling skills for adults, which enabled 26 people on a 16-week course to gain an accreditation, and all individuals have subsequently gone on to further courses, having their confidence being built. In fact, in the last year, based on completed end of grant reports, we've helped generate 3,010 hours of education and training, and 283 people gained an accreditation or a qualification. So here's Brookside Community Hall with their activities.
Brookside Hall has been here for the last 5 years now, serving the community, needs of the community, and creating a community cohesion. There are many religious activities, there are many social activities, there are many teaching classes. There are a number of clubs. We run gardening club, community club. We try and bring isolated people out into the community, and we run whatever suits them and get them involved.
We have lots and lots of events happening here, lots of teaching facilities and courses, lots of clubs. So it's a very, very multicultural venue.
And our remit is to engage with hard to reach groups in deprived communities. So we have quite a lot of courses on down here at the Brookside Hall. We have sewing, back to work skills, employability, many arts and crafts courses, Tai Chi. At the moment we've got watercolour painting on with local artist David Douglas. We do 2 free lots of food. We do a weekly lunch for the community called Brookside Gets Healthy. That's funded by the Health Lottery. And once a month we do the Manna Langa, which is a community meal for the community.
I teach counselling skills, I teach self-empowerment, which includes stress management, anger management, and they've been really, really popular, and they're open for everyone. Actually, it's for vulnerable people and people who have been isolated due to ill health or redundancies or even older age. It gives an opportunity to people to not only socialise, while they're learning, but it also makes them feel valuable. And that's one of the great things about this community centre. Everyone is treated with so much respect and equality. So we have all different cultures here, all different races, all different sexualities. And the friendships that have been formed, it's lovely because now we've got a Facebook group going too. So it gives people the courage to go on computers too, the older generation too, so it's lovely.
one of our key themes highlighted in our impact review is about getting people volunteering. Based on completed end of grant reports that we've received from the groups that we fund on behalf of donors, we were able to support 1,483 regular volunteers last year, and also enable 292 new volunteers to be brought on. The work that you're going to see through the film in a minute is through Tools for Self Reliance, who through some of the funding through the NCC seed funding for innovative community projects were enabled to support their volunteers by creating a promotional video to help profile their work that they do, and which has enabled them not only to sustain 48 regular volunteers through regular donations, but has built their confidence in raising the profile of their activity. And here is the link to the video for Tools for Self Reliance.
Tools for Self Reliance gives volunteering opportunities to people who would otherwise not have any chance to do any work. It means that they can come here, they can do something useful, and they can really give back something to the community.
You socialise with other people, you get to meet new people, and you get to know how to tidy up tools and that.
It is an extremely important institution for them because it gives them so much.
Well, I like the atmosphere here, and we're doing a double good job, I think. One, we are producing tools for reuse, and the other thing is we've got people here with problems that enjoy coming, and we enjoy being with them. It's a double plus, I think. You get some satisfaction out of taking an old rusty tool and finishing up with a nice clean bit of kit that can be used.
I enjoyed coming here because I meet others, and at the same time the work I do here, I do feel that is beneficial to other people as well.
The benefits for Michael, my husband, are that before he came here he had very, very, very low self-esteem, low confidence. He really was in his own little world. Since he's been coming here, he's done absolutely fantastic. He's aware of people, he's aware of what's going on. He's very, very confident now.
People bringing in old tools that they don't want, and we check through them to make sure that they're serviceable and then do them up so we can send them to the third world where they are needed.
I've been coming here for 3 months now, ever since I had my stroke. Because if I wasn't doing this, I'd only be at home, which gets a bit monotonous. While I'm here, it gives my wife a break from looking after me. She's gone shopping. So I have to make sure she hasn't got too many credit cards.
Benefits for myself are the fact that I have me time. I know that he's here and he's happy and he's safe.
Some people, you know, they find it difficult to occupy themselves when they're out in the community and engage in anything meaningful. So it helps increase their confidence and self-esteem and develop positive relationships with others as well.
Meet new people here, I have a lot of friends. I come 3 times a week. I love it. Staff are great. I can't say anything better.
They enjoy the company. They learn how to interact with a lot of other people, and they've gained an awful lot of confidence and independence in doing so.
The staff here, they are very supportive. And another thing too is when you come in here and you are determined to get something done for a purpose, you have a vision of coming here, you do enjoy, you just don't come here aimless or just to while away time and go.
We have kits done up here that go out to the third world, Africa, like Uganda and those places.
Right, here we have a fully assembled carpenter's kit. All of these items came in covered in rust, donated by various people. Our volunteers have cleaned them all Everything is polished, reground and fit for use. These are all the different types of kits that go out to the various locations. If you give someone a bag of rice on a Monday, he'll come back next Monday for another bag of rice. If we send out a carpenter's kit, nobody wants that apart from the recipient, who then starts to be self-sufficient. The upshot is somebody somewhere is having a decent standard of living instead of just scraping by.
It makes me feel proud to help other people.
Personally, it gets me here because I know where all these tools have to go for people that have not got anything, and I feel really proud to be able to help them out.
It's all done from stuff that people no longer want, and instead of throwing away quality tools, British tools, they're refurbished, given a new lease of life, thousands of miles away. We'll probably never see the bloke, but he's probably quite happy making something today with his new toolkit. And that's what it's all about, lifting everybody up a step.
A next key theme in our impact review is around supporting work around the environment, and this can include projects such as pocket parks and green spaces, allotment associations, community transport schemes, walking and cycling initiatives. In fact, we know from research and reports that living near and using a green space is very good for people's health and well-being. And just some of the highlights that I've picked out as an example are that we helped 4,600 people use public spaces, including allotments, 154 people using community transport schemes regularly, and also we've enabled 4 new local wildlife protection schemes get up and running. Our next theme that we highlight in our impact review is getting people into the arts, culture and heritage. Now this can include a broad range of activities from dance, music, theatre, crafts, photography, digital media and preservation and promotion of local heritage. The group that you're going to see in our film video link is Higham Ferrers World War I History Group, and funding that we provided enabled them to create a historical brochure and heritage walk to commemorate those lives lost during the war. And also during their work they also identified forgotten war graves and memorials and have been able to bring them as part of their heritage walk and ensure that people are able to commemorate the World War locally, as well as enabling people to visit a local heritage site. And here is the link.
Well, the young men of Higham Ferrers were involved in all aspects of the First World War. I mean, Higham Ferrers itself, of course, a big shoe manufacturer at the time, so everybody within the town, whether they served or not, were involved in the First World War. 600 servicemen aged, as we know, from 16 right through to the late 40s went off to war in the various fronts, and unfortunately nearly 100 of them failed to return home. The town council was impacted. The mayor had a son who was serving, another councillor, Councillor Pack, lost a son, Councillor Kilby lost a son. So the war impacted on Higham Ferrers greatly, as it did any other town within the country. I was putting the meat on the bones for my grandfather and found his service records were quite interesting. And somebody said to the wife's brother one day at the Western Front Association that, "Hey, you're from Higham Ferrers. We've got some boxes from the mayor of Higham Ferrers from the First World War, never been looked at." So on opening the boxes we found a lot of information, a lot of letters, and they were from names that we never recognised from remembrance services. So these men had actually served in the war and survived, and from that we wanted more information about those soldiers as well, and everything started from there really. The letters we have from the soldiers are very upbeat mostly, Most of them were thinking the war would be over a lot earlier than what it was. Some thinking as early as 1915, but it shows the perspective that the troops didn't really know how serious it was and how bad things were because they were kept in the dark to a great extent. The documents and photographs we have are very moving at times. Mr. and Mrs. Newell, I dread to think what they would have thought every time they saw the postboy go towards Kennel Row down by the walnut tree. Because every time he seemed to call at their house with a postcard saying that they'd lost another son, and eventually they lost 4 out of 5 sons. We also have the Methodist football teams which show those soldiers as young men, young boys, and you can go through and look at the names and you say, well, he survived, he passed away, he survived. The Community Foundation contribution we've had towards the book, which is the Higham Ferrers, The War Walk, which takes you on a walk around Higham Ferrers, which shows street by street those men that served, those men who passed away, and bringing to life their stories from records and letters and documents found during our research. It tells where they died, how they died, when they were wounded, those who survived, and occasionally there's a funny tale. And it also shows Higham Ferrers at the time of the war through the photographs we've taken and had given to us from other people in the town, and also Higham Ferrers today, so that anyone coming into the town today to look at it will still recognise where they are by the modern photographs and still be able to put it into perspective with the older photographs. The people of Higham Ferrers have been very generous in the donation of documents because it seems as though they want to perpetuate the memory of all of those who served in the war.
One of our next key themes that we highlight in our impact review is enabling people to get healthy and active, and the link you're going to see in a minute is some film footage via Pink Rooster, a group that we have supported to do a care home dementia project and personalised playlist with older people living with dementia in care homes within Northamptonshire. There are actually around, the Alzheimer's Society estimate around 80,000 people living in the UK with dementia. Therefore, in an ageing society, it's obviously a key issue, but the kind of range of projects that we fund can include healthy eating projects, disability support groups, sports and exercise clubs, counselling and advice services, and indeed some of the kind of impact highlights that we flag up in our impact review is that through funded work we've been able to create 11,449 new hours of sports, recreational and leisure activities, and also we've had, through our reported end of grant reports from the groups that we fund, reports back that there are 4,875 people reporting improved health, and that can be mental, physical and emotional. So here's the link to Pink Rooster's project activity.
Pink Rooster is a local charity based in Northampton. The focus is delivering music mainly to people with dementia, but we expand that throughout different areas of healthcare into mental health and physical health problems as well, but we're mainly focusing on dementia at the moment.
We play live music, which is violin and guitar, to the residents. We play old familiar songs from around the world, and also we do interactive therapy music percussion sessions with them, so they can join in and in a sort of physical, interactive way.
And another part of our project is delivering pre-recorded music which we put onto MP3 players, and that consists of a personalised playlist for an individual person suffering with dementia, and it's tunes that mean something to that person, and those tunes are then designed to unlock fond memories from the past. And also it's been proven through research that listening to music can reduce the associated symptoms of dementia, such as aggression, anxiety, depression, anger, and also in some cases reduce the need for medication, and also reduce pain as well. So it's quite a wide application of music in the whole field of healthcare and health and well-being. Northampton Community Foundation have been instrumental in helping us kick-start the project from what started as a seed idea just to play a few gigs at some care homes. We approached the Community Foundation and they helped us secure some seed funding from Northampton County Council, which enabled us to run a pilot project which was very successful. And without the Community Foundation's help, it would have been very difficult to secure the funding that we needed. We really look forward to every visit that you make, and it does make a big difference to us. So, we know we are making a difference through music to those people, and reducing social isolation as well, because people with dementia can feel very isolated even if they're in a group of people.
Another area that we highlight in our impact review is helping make communities safer. So this can include community safety schemes and diverting antisocial behaviour, rehabilitating ex-offenders, and the project that you're going to see in a minute is called Solve It. This was funded via our High Sheriff's initiative, which included road shows to highlight the dangers of legal highs, working with over 100 young people aged 16 to 25 to ensure that they felt safe and informed about their rights and responsibilities, and also signposting them to further advice and agencies. Some of the highlights also within our Community Safer theme is that we've enabled in the last year 1,160 people to be diverted from crime and antisocial behaviour. 270 people have reported feeling much safer in their community, and 425 ex-offenders have taken part in projects, which is evidence that they haven't reoffended within 3 months subsequently as a result of taking part in those projects. So here's the video link to Solve It's work.
There's been a rise of the number of young people using legal highs. We did a consultation last year in engaging with 350 young people, and 24% of them had taken a legal high. That number's too high, so we wanted to raise awareness. Often things like solvent abuse and legal highs are left off more generic drug education, so we thought that a service needed to be here that provided that information and advice. The main danger is that they're completely untested. These drugs haven't been tested on humans, so somebody who's putting them inside their body really are being a guinea pig. They're readily available as well online and in the high street. There's a number of places locally that are selling them. It's really important that people know that these things aren't safe, they are untested, and some of the side effects include things like severe hallucinations, paranoia, psychosis, and there has been an increase in the number of deaths. Solve It is a drug awareness and education charity. We work in Northamptonshire and we educate and raise awareness about the dangers of legal drugs. We work in schools, we deliver interactive workshops, raising that awareness and education. We work with parents to kind of boost their confidence and give them some information so they can confidently talk to their children about drugs. We are here today for the National Citizen Service. It's a programme for young people to get involved in the school holidays where they do some social action, they learn different life skills, and we're here today to promote the charity, to try and engage with young people and get them involved in supporting Solve It. We contacted the Northamptonshire Community Foundation to seek some funding. We were awarded some funding by the High Sheriff, and that was to deliver a project called Safe Choices. This was really kind of our first introduction into raising awareness about legal highs. Historically, the charity's always been around solvent abuse. So we worked with hard to reach young people, so young people that were in complementary education. We also worked with secondary school age and also the community. That funding allowed us to really get some good evidence to then put forward a bigger funding bid from the big lottery to keep the charity going and delivering this message. So we are hugely grateful for the Northamptonshire Community Foundation for supporting us. Our kind of opinion is the younger age we can talk to, we can engage with, hopefully they'll have all the facts and all the information so they can go on in their lives and make informed choices. We believe that education is the most important thing when it comes to drugs.
Last but not least, another key theme that we highlight in our impact review is helping people get back to work. And this can cover activity such as work placements, active funding of employed positions within the voluntary and community sector to sustain them, and also helping people with their employability pathway, such as building their CV, getting them volunteer placements. And in fact, we've been able to report back 133 people starting on the pathway to employability. We've also worked in partnership with the Ferrers Foundation, which addresses and enables people to receive money in the form of a loan, particularly those who have been financially excluded, which prevents people becoming self-employed and moving perhaps from welfare benefit to a position of self-employment and taking a business idea forward. And this includes providing business advice and support as well. And coming soon, I would like to mention that we will be joining the network of community foundations across the world to start looking at delivering Vital Signs, which will be an annual community report, which will provide a report card across different areas and themes across Northamptonshire as to what those key issues are and what key priorities there are for local residents. So it will be like gauging the social temperature of different areas and finding out what priorities residents have in their areas in terms of need, and what's going well, what's going not so well, and what's an urgent issue that needs addressing. And this will help inform our current donors and potential new donors and community philanthropists about issues and opportunities in the community they may wish to invest in, and will help provide a guide for local giving. So I hope you've enjoyed this short podcast on our impact review, and please do stay on the journey with us to help build thriving communities in Northamptonshire. And I might wish to say that since 2002, thanks to the generosity and involvement of our donors, we've been able to invest nearly £9 million supporting over 2,500 projects. So please do consider joining the foundation family if you haven't already, and thank you for your support.